Hola, and welcome once again to the Schaefer Small Engine Shop and Two Car Garage. Today, we're going to have a victim that I have never seen before. I didn't even know there was such a thing, but it's this Husky backpack blower, 125 BT. Now my friend Todd asked me if I could work on his backpack blower. Yeah, sure, bring it over. So he brought it over, and I said, Todd, what is that thing, a toy? And he said, no, Mr. Schaefer, this is my backpack blower. And I said, Todd, it looks like a toy. Oh no, sir, it's a blower. It's not working right. And so I took it, and here it is. And I'll show you why I thought it was a toy. On the bench now is my Husqvarna backpack blower, a 150 BT. That's a 52 or 53 cc backpack blower. And the one Todd brought over here is a 125 BT, and I think it's about a 28 cc backpack blower. Basically got the same size engine as you would have in a handheld blower. Now, I have not started this thing. I have made no attempt to start it. I'll bring you in a little closer and show you what all I've gotten accomplished on it. And I can tell you it was beyond filthy when it came over here. All right, so far I have replaced the carburetor. The carburetor was completely hidden under a mountain of dirt. And this is a 2003 model, and I wasn't going to fool with any 2003 carburetor, so I threw it in the trash and bought a brand new one. New fuel lines, new fuel filter. And I like this new carb. It's got what I assume is a main jet adjusting screw over there. Now, I did have to replace one of the little brackets up here on the top that hold the throttle. This is the one that came with it, and it just wouldn't work right. And the throttle is kind of in question anyway. But I've replaced it, got it hooked up. I've lubed that cable so it can't stand any more lubricant. But sometimes it goes back to idle and sometimes it doesn't. Right now it's going back to idle. So we got new fuel lines, new fuel filter, new air cleaner, and the spark plug was horribly corroded and fouled. I don't know how this thing could have ever started with the spark plug that's in it. But she got a brand new Champion plug in it now, and I'm now down to the final thing, which is working on the pull start here. So I'm going to go to the workbench and show you what all I've done and what remains to be done to the pull start. The rope on the pull start was just junk. It was dangling down about 3 or 4 inches, and it needed to be replaced. So I disassembled the pull start here, and the spring pops out of it, flies out like a bunch of steel spaghetti. So I knew I was going to have to rewind it. And to do that, I can't illustrate this, but I'll show you how I did it. I took a block of wood, put a screw in it, and put the screw through the center of the spring, and began wrapping it around where I could get to it, work on it, and I got it wrapped up tight where it's going to fit back inside the housing. And then I took a pair of vice grips, squeezed it tight where it wouldn't explode when I removed it, and I got it out. And naturally, I had wound the thing. I had put it on here upside down. So what I had to do was then take the spring, put another pair of vice grips on it, take from the other side, take these vice grips off, turn it around, and then using the second pair, I could get it to fit in the housing. So you put it in the housing, and this pulley has got a little tongue on it, and the little tongue has got to go through the center of the spring. Well, that's about a 30-minute exercise getting that to work. But I finally got it on there, and I've got it wrapped up, wound up as tight as I could get it. You can hold it by wedging something in, or in this case, the center screw there holds it tight where it cannot come unwound. So now I'm to the point of putting on the new rope. Here's the handle, and here's the rope I'm going to use. To do that, I have taken my lighter here and lightly singed the nylon, and I'm going to take it and then use a little tiny piece of wire. This is a shipping label or repair tag piece of wire, and I'm going to wrap it around here 5 or 6 times. Actually, I'm going to wrap it right on the end, where when I'm pulling it from the end. So I got it on there tight. I think the wire is not sticking out where it'll get hung up. And first thing we're going to do is go out the handle. The handle's got a little steel piece in here, and my wire's going to go through the hole in the steel piece and hopefully pull the rope through. And that didn't work. And let's try again. All right, attempt number 2. I'm working on the handle. Of course, this thing's falling out again. You put it back in. The wire through the handle. Gather it up. And let's get a pair of pliers and see if it'll pull through. Huh. Look here. It came through. Now, I'm just going to tie a knot in this other end because I don't know, to keep it from coming through, I don't know exactly where we're going to need to tie this knot until I get this end of the rope fed through the opening and through the little hole in the pulley here, and I can pull this through, tie a knot, and hook it in the grooves there that hold it. So the wire goes through easily. I've got a little tiny pair of needle nose pliers. Rats. Let me do this. Let me get a pick here, bend this little wire up where I can get a better grip on it, like now. Now I've got my wire and I'm pulling through, and we're going to hope that this pulls right through this little tiny hole that's in the pulley. This is where the testy part of this comes along. Move this. I'm done with that. Didn't work. Came undone. Let's see if I can get it started this way. I'm going to fool with this a minute. I'll turn you right back out. All right, we've achieved some success. The little wire has pulled the nylon cord through the tiny hole, and I'm going to pull on some more with the wire, but there's enough nylon in there that I can get it with my little needle nose pliers if I need to. So let me pull it through, get the knot tied, and I'll turn you back on. Here is the rope coming through the hole, and I will simply tie a knot in the end of it, put it into these two grooves here where it belongs. That'll hold it in place. Then I'll pull it back through the other way, release the spring, and we'll see how much rope I actually need. Now I've got my knot tied right here, and I'm going to take my barbecue pit lighter and lightly graze all of that. And once it's melted together like that, it's not coming undone. Alright, I got my knot tied. I'm going to hold this and unloosen that screw. And it starts pulling in string. Now what we're going to do is pull this through so it has enough tension that it'll hold that starter handle up against the housing. And I've got it marked right here with my finger. And that's where we're going to tie knot number 2. Might not be perfect, but it's better than 4 inches hanging out. So now I'll burn my nylon again. Doesn't have to be burned to a crisp. Just glazed over a little bit. We'll get our nippers, which do most of the cutting, but there's no substitute for scissors. Okay, that's done. Now we're going to get this knot to go inside the handle. And it's fighting a little bit, but it's going. Now, if the plan works correctly, well, it's dangling out a little bit, isn't it? But we're going to take the inside of this thing and drown it in lubricant. We'll see if it'll pull in all the way. Off camera, I have pulled in a little more rope through the handle, tied a second knot, and now I've got a good pull and this thing stays where it's supposed to. So let me put this back on and see if we're ready to see if this thing will actually start and run. Well, I forgot to show you this choke lever I hermeticated. Very common on Echoes and this steel, that the little big end of the choke lever breaks off and leaves nothing but a nub out of there. Now, I have fixed a bunch of these things before by drilling a tiny hole through the remaining shaft of the choke lever, filling it with super glue, and in this case I used a map tack, and it seems to be glued in there pretty well, and it's holding, so he shouldn't have any problem finding the choke now. All right, here goes nothing. I have not pulled on this thing or made any attempt to start it since it's been here. Let's see what she does. It's got plenty of compression. We're going to have to go out somewhere where we get a little better grip on this thing. Well, instead of moving it, I just clamped it down. Well, that's something. Take it outside and blow with it. Now we're in the middle of what is commonly called the yellow plague here in North Louisiana. Every oak, every pine, every ash, every hickory is in bloom, and they've flowered, and the catkins are everywhere. We're not going to have any trouble finding something to blow. I'm gonna call this a win. Thanks for watching. If you like these videos, hit like and subscribe, and I hope this helps someone.